And just like that, all my grand plans are out the window because it has started raining. What a good boy. Do you want your breakfast? It's not really light out yet, but we are up early and getting the Jeep packed up and feeding the dog. We've got a ways to drive this morning to get to a hike, and I'm hoping that we're up early enough to actually finish the hike before it gets dark again. Did you finish your breakfast? Yeah, you finished your breakfast. Yeah, we're packing up real quick. Oh, I haven't even had my coffee yet. Oh, the sky is lightening up already. I'm going as fast as I can to get packed up, and it's still taking a long time. You went all the way up there? Good boy. Good boy. You were just exploring everything? Good boy. Good boy. Good morning, everybody. If you're new to the channel, I'm Katie. That's Tuck. And we are traveling the Americas in my Jeep. And today we're going for a hike. But yeah, I don't know if I got up early enough to... I got up early, but did I get up early enough to get to the hike and hike it before it gets dark? I'm not sure. But let's go. We're in Utah right now, and we're camped back a canyon called Sago Canyon, where we saw some petroglyphs and an old ghost town, and you can check out the previous episode if you would like to check those out. And now we're going to jump on the highway on I-70 and head toward Green River, and then a little bit beyond, and going to go to a hike called Little Wild Horse. And it's a slot canyon that Tuck should be able to do. It does get narrow in some spots and have a couple things you got to climb over, but I think he can do it if he's brave. I won't push him to do things that scare him, but hopefully this will be a good confidence and skills building hike for the little guy. The speed limit on the interstates in Utah is 80 miles an hour, and it just, in a Jeep, that's really fast. I don't really feel the need to go that fast, kind of ever. We're pulling into Green River, where it is well advised to fill up your gas tank, because it's going to be a while before we see another gas station. Green River is a pretty small town, but they do have like amazing melons in the summertime. There's a lot of people grow melons in this area, and they're really good. So if you're ever through Green River in the fall, come and get some melons. They also have a really good coffee shop, and that's where we're headed. And that restaurant on the left called the Tamarisk has great breakfast, but it looks like they're closed for the season. And that is a thing we're going to encounter a lot in this part of the country. Is it's wintertime and a lot of stuff closes in the wintertime. I hope the coffee shop is operating. No, the coffee shop is not operational. I may have to get some gas station coffee. I mean, I can stop and make some coffee, but I'm me see if there's anything else up here. Gas station coffee has been acquired. Let's try our gas station coffee. They actually had a pretty good coffee setup in there with different kinds of coffee you could choose. It's caffeine. From a distance, it looks like any one of thousands of sandstone formations in Utah. But when you get closer, and you can make out the fantastical shapes of the rocks, spires, peaks, castles, and twisted stone, you realize this is something entirely unique. In a state with countless breathtaking natural features, the San Rafael Swell stands out. To early explorers and traders, it was a 75-mile-long, 30-mile-wide, impenetrable sandstone wall. For miners, many found their fortune because these rocks are a rich source of uranium. And to modern-day adventurers, it's a fantastical playground with hoodoos and goblins, pictographs and petroglyphs, arches and slot canyons. And just like that, all my grand plans are out the window because it has started raining. And I can't do the hike I was going to do if there's rain because there's a risk of flash floods. So we're going with Plan B. We are in Goblin Valley State Park, which is very close to the trailhead, but does not have the risk of flash flooding that Little Wild Horse Trail would, or any of the canyon trails. Yeah, that's the current status. I actually have a couple other places we can explore, but we're going to start at Goblin Valley. Welcome to Goblin Valley. I know Mom is slow and can't go down the stairs quite as fast as you can. We are going to have to walk around here for at least an hour, at least. There aren't a whole lot of established trails here. You can just go wandering around. The sandstone just eroded in a really cool way in Goblin Valley, creating all of these little goblins. And it eroded differently than other portions of this area, like Arches National Park, because this was actually a tidal flat and not kind of the middle of the ocean, and it didn't have sand dunes. Aside from the rain that ruined our original plans, this really is like the best time of year to come visit this area because it's not hot. In the summertime, it is blazing hot walking around here. This is much more pleasant. The erosion of the sandstone in Goblin Valley is still going on. It's an active process, and that cliff shows you new little goblins eroding out of the sandstone. And now that's probably not gonna happen in my lifetime, that there's a new goblin produced, but that's how it's happening. From here you can see Temple Mountain in the swell and some cool green buttes that really highlight the red of the sandstone. And fun fact, this is where the rock monster scene in Galaxy Quest was filmed. Absolutely classic film. You should see it if you haven't. And it was filmed right here because it looks like an alien planet. Good boy. And it looks like the sky is clearing up a little bit, but that still doesn't make going in the canyon safe, because the sky over here is not the sky I'm concerned about. The sky I'm concerned about is back there, and you can't see from the height we're at right now, but it's pretty dark and ominous. And that is the clouds that are on the other side of the canyon. And that's where the water would come from if there was a flash flood. Like, it could rain right here all day and the canyon is not going to flood. But on the other side of the canyon, since the canyon comes downhill towards us here, tiny bits of rain over there could cause a flash flood. The weather makes it extra dramatic, but even without the ominous clouds, this is really a fantastical landscape. I just find it one of the most enchanting areas in Utah. This is Little Wild Horse Canyon, and it's the first slot canyon I ever did. And it's a non-technical slot canyon, meaning you don't need ropes and climbing abilities to do this canyon. It's just a fun little introduction to slot canyons. And yeah, we can't do the whole thing, and in fact, we're not going to do very much of it at all. I'm only going to go as far in as I feel comfortable that I could have a good escape route if there were some flooding. What I mean by escape routes is where we are right now. If a flood came down the canyon, you could hop up on there very easily. This old gnarled cottonwood is really a neat tree. Look how deep the grooves are in that bark. Oh, good boy. You figured that out. He just hopped over a really big rock by himself. You can do it. Good boy. Good boy. We have our cool sandstone layers, and what you can see in them are these little dark circles. In fact, here's one that's a little better. Here's one. They're kind of peppered all over the rocks. Those are iron concretions in the sandstone, and they eventually erode out of the rock. And in fact, I bet at one point that this canyon had a lot of them littering the floor of the canyon, that people have probably taken them because they're cool. They're little iron rocks, and they come in sizes from like about a softball down to tiny little pebbles. They're called Moki marbles. And if you see a Moki marble, don't take it. Supposedly very bad luck will happen if you take the Moki marbles. So potentially a lot of people have had a lot of very bad luck. All right, we're not going to go too much further than this section up here where it gets a little skinny. Look at how that rock is scoured out. That is the power of water to scour out the walls and carve this canyon. And while it's certainly a little narrower here, I still have escape routes. Sandstone is particularly interesting because it looks smooth. This looks relatively smooth. but it's like sandpaper. And because it's like sandpaper, you actually have a lot of grip when you're walking on it or climbing down it or climbing up it. That goes for your cars too. If you're driving on it, your tires stick. It's kind of funny. I remember doing this canyon the first time I ever did it. The first and only until now time I ever did this canyon. And I remember thinking how narrow it was and how there were some cool little technical things. And yeah, I have a different perspective now that I have canyoneered a number of the canyons in the area where you have to rappel down and where the canyon walls are the width of your body and maybe a little bit more. And yeah, this is just a fun little canyon. But I remember thinking that this was like one of the coolest things I'd ever done. I've done some cooler things since then. This is a cool little twisty spot, and that's as far as we're going, bud. All right, we are headed back to the car because I don't want to get stuck where there's no escape route for me and the dog. And I wish I could have shown you guys the whole canyon and then coming down Bell. Bell is the canyon next door, and it's beautiful too. But I think you got the flavor of Little Wild Horse. At least I hope. We're going to head down the road just a little bit and make one more stop. We're driving back this really cool wash, which will turn into a little bit of a canyon that I had to find from memory because I somehow have not ever marked this on any of my maps. And then we are going to check out an old uranium mine. Are you glad to be out of the car? Yeah, you don't like the bouncing so much. There's not much left, but these are the remains of a uranium mine. And that rather impressive mountain is called Temple Mountain. I guess because it kind of looks like a temple. Kind of really looks like a temple. Don't want to be going in there. I don't know if you can tell that in camera, but that floor is totally like curved, as well as the roof. There really isn't a whole lot left here, but it's still cool to see the little bits of history. Any car people know what kind of car that was? I don't know how they get filled with rocks. All these old desert cars get filled with rocks. Are there any identifying marks that might tell us what kind of car this was? I don't see anything. It is chock full of bullet holes. Somebody, probably many somebodies, have been using this little vehicle for target practice. And this old barrel that probably once held really toxic stuff has been used for target practice. And you can see remains up there of old mining stuff. And that must be where the old mine was. And you can see how much yellow is in this rock. Yellow means uranium. There's some big chunk of metal up there and lots of chunks of wood and metal. Not much left here, but it's still cool to check out. I think those little pronghorn are very interesting, huh? They're such cool critters. We are off the dirt momentarily and heading deeper into the swell to see one more thing. This road we're on just keeps going and going. I keep thinking we must be getting close by now, and we're not. It's raining now. We're not there yet. And it looks like it's getting dark because the sky is so overcast, but it's not quite getting dark yet. I think we're finally here. What a setting. From the time we saw the antelope till now, it's been an hour of driving on variably conditioned dirt roads, and it's getting late. It's 3:45, so we are checking this out really quick and then getting back in the car. We came here to see this cabin. It's called Swayze's cabin, and a guy, last name of Swayze, built this, but that's not why we're here. We are here because Marie Curie stayed in this cabin while she was researching the uranium in the area. I guess this area produces a really high quality uranium, and she was extremely interested in it, and she stayed here in this cabin. Oh, it's very dark. Oh, it smells really good in here. It smells like the wood. It smells like juniper. Not much of a cabin. It's pretty small. Tuck is just very excited to be out of the car. We got to go back in there though. Oh, what a beautiful spot. We've got beautiful sandstone cliffs pretty close. Well, really close. Behind the cabin is this really cool little sandstone cliff. All right, it's raining and it's cold, and I still actually have a lot of driving to do because I'm headed to Torrey Utah, which is right near Capitol Reef National Park, because I got a hotel. It is the Christmas season, and my Christmas present this year from my parents is a hotel, which is a great present for me. And we're not going to get there till probably well after dark. So I'm going to say good night for now. And I want to thank all of you for coming along with me. It's amazing that you're coming along with me. And if you've made it this far in the video and you're not a subscriber yet, maybe you should subscribe. It also helps to like and comment. The algorithm loves that stuff. We'll see you down the road.